In the late 1700s, most people worked in the fields, on land they did not own. Those who owned the land, called aristocrats, lived refined lives in elegant manor houses. Servants raised their children and did their housework. The landowners and the people who worked for them depended upon each other. It was a system that had existed for centuries. In towns across England and the United States, a series of extraordinary innovations would alter the way people lived and worked for the next 150 years. Inventors had found new ways to harness nature's energy. They built new kinds of machines powered by water, steam, and coal. The new machines replaced hand-powered tools. They did the same work, only cheaper and faster. Much of the work was done outside the home, in specially designed buildings, the first factories. Mechanization began in the textile mills of England, where one machine attached to a spinning wheel could do the work of 50 people. Fuel, clothing, and food all became more affordable. With the development of locomotives and steamboats, manufactured goods could now be sold halfway around the world. Families moved from the villages of their ancestors to new industrial towns.
As seen on the example of Industrial Revolution, factories made producing luxurious goods fast and easy. However, there were also negative impacts of Industrial Revolution, which was child labor. As the factories grew, demand for more workers also grew, and the factory owners solved the problem by using children as laborers. Aging from 5 years old to 14 years old, children were sent to different factories to work. But why did they use children as laborers? Well, there are 5 reasons why children were used as laborers. Children were easy to control and they would not strike against their masters. Factory owners believed that children could adapt to the factory life more quickly. It was beneficial for factories because children were also paid a fraction of what an adult would have received. Also, there was social perception that children should be sent off to work in order to feed the whole family. And finally, there were no strong government laws to oppose child labor. Textile factories. Children who worked in the textile factories were known as scavengers. Being a scavenger was an extremely difficult job for children due to frequent accidents. Children were expected to pick up loose cotton from under the machinery and sweep under the wheels. When done wrong, children's hair, clothing, or part of their limbs could get caught on the machines and would be rudely torn apart. Coal mining. Working as a coal miner was extremely hard and dangerous. Children were constantly crouched over the chutes and the boys sit hour after hour picking up pieces of slate and other mixtures from the coal as it is passed down to the washers. From the cramped position they have to get used to, most of them become deformed and bent-backed. The coal is hard and sharp, which causes accidents to the hands from cuts, broken, or crushed fingers, which were common among the boys who worked in the mines. Chimney sweepers. Children from orphanages and homeless children from the streets were brought and turned into servants. They were called the climbing boys. The boys would climb up inside the chimney, brushing and scraping down the burnt particles, using their small hand-sized brush and metal scrapers. Due to chimneys being extremely narrow, children were forced in to wiggle them. The working condition of this job was horrible. Not only it was filthy, it was extremely dangerous. Many suffered from deformities such as twisted spines, kneecaps, and ankles.
With a view of immediately testing my capabilities, my new master persuaded me to climb a chimney on my very first morning. With the feet standing up on the grate, the body would nearly fill up the width of a chimney. I climbed, with my right arm lifted above the head, the left down by my side. The elbows were pressed hard against the brickwork to hold the body suspended until the knees were drawn up. Then the knees on one side and the bare heels on the other held me secure, while the right hand applied the scraper to bring down the soot. The knees and elbows, through the constant pressing and the friction with the brickwork, became peeled, thus allowing soot to penetrate. It caused ugly, festering sores, which took several weeks to heal. Breathing was always more or less a difficulty. A hood, called a climbing cap, was drawn over the head and tucked in at the neck. But even with that protection, I was subject to the taste and inhalation of every kind of soot into my throat and lungs. Where fires had only just been put out, the sulphurous fumes were sufficient to stifle one. Once the fumes were so strong that
Punishments. When children showed the sign of being tired or drowsiness from overworking, they were usually hit with a strap to work faster or dipped head to toe into the water cistern. They were also punished for arriving late to work or talking to other children. Due to the constant violence towards children, children were left with scars, bruises, and fear. Around 1891, the government passed the Factory Act to improve conditions for children working in the factories. For example, children under 9 is illegal to work beyond from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Also, 3-course meals and break during the work are provided for the children. The Union Act came into action in 1832 to oppose child labor in Britain.